Well, the City of Rockwall Mayor Jim Pruitt must have lost his mind. Standing up to the establishment? What's he thinking? It's time for some straight talk, Rockwall County. I'm Bunker Bob, and this is The Bunker Bob Show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is great to be back with you again on a beautiful day. It's actually a beautiful Thursday, and I am, it's Tuesday, not Thursday, and I got my days mixed up, and it is great to be back with you again after a bit of a hiatus. A lot of things have been going on in Rockwall County. In addition to the COVID issue and the COVID crisis that our nation finds itself in, we also have an issue of how are people going to be paying taxes, and we have a mayor of Rockwall, the city of Rockwall, who had a solution. And that solution was to ask the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott, to hold and freeze all of the property values to last year's assessed values, which would give some relief to citizens all over the state. And this was something that he came up with. He created a letter, asked the mayors from all of Rockwall County to sign it, which most did. And this is not just in Rockwall County, but other mayors have done this as well. This is a formal letter that was sent directly to the governor, and that is something that Mayor Pruitt had asked that the county officials. He asked the state representatives, state senators. He asked for their help. He asked that they would join with these mayors to try and curb property values. And what this does, and why this is such a great idea, is it really puts the onus and the responsibility of raising taxes on the local communities, on the counties, on the cities, and the school districts. Because oftentimes what happens is, with property values on rapidly rising as we get more from the left coast and all over America coming in to enjoy our freedom and our low tax rate, as they also bring with them their very skewed ideas of what we should believe and what we should do. But that's for a different show, obviously. But what that does, and by holding back the property values to last year's rates, it really forces the cities to be responsible, and the counties and the school districts to say to taxpayers, if they need more money, because every year property values go up, it brings more money into city and county and school districts' coffers. And so they don't even have to raise the tax rate. And so they can be the good guys. Cities and counties and school districts can be the good guys and let the state be the bad guy. What this does is it puts the responsibility onto the local communities, onto those who are running our local communities, our cities and counties and school districts. So if they do need more money, they're actually going to have to go to the taxpayers and say, hey, we need to raise your tax rate. And that is a great thing. And I think, gosh, when I saw that Mayor Pruitt had proposed this, I was genuinely inspired that here is a conservative mayor. And understand, typically mayors and city elected officials, oftentimes there's something called the Texas Municipal League. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But the Texas Municipal League is a fairly liberal organization, because cities, by their nature, they want growth. They want more taxes. They want more stuff. They want to grow. And so you have these visionaries. That's what they call themselves. I call them tax and spend liberals, but you have people in city governments oftentimes that just want to spend, tax. And here you have Mayor Pruitt saying, wait a minute, we want to hold back the taxes. We want to give relief to the citizens of Texas, specifically of Rockwall County. And we just ask the governor to consider this and to perhaps have if it requires a special session, well, for goodness sake, do it. That's the governor. I don't know that he can make an executive order, but he can sure call a special session. And don't forget, this is something that a lot of politicians that in the state House and Senate, they don't want to see happen. And I'm not just talking about Democrats. I'm talking about Republicans too. As I've said so many times before, a Republican does not a conservative make. And I'm going to highlight this fact, this point in great detail. But let me show you. I'm going to let you see for yourself what has angered and frustrated so many of the establishment politicians. And it is something that Jim Pruitt posted on a Facebook video or a YouTube video that he had posted to his Facebook page as well. And it did not sit well with certain people. I'll let you see for yourself.
All of you this week got your tax appraisal notices in the mail. We've been told by the appraisal district that if you had a home that was in the $200,000 to $400,000 range, you're going to see a tax increase appraisal of around 15%. Well, look, this is the worst news you can get here at a time when we're facing the biggest pandemic that has gone around in this country in 100 years. I just want to tell you the work that both myself and the other mayors from most of the cities in Rockwall County and all across this state did to try to get it so that you didn't get that notice in the mail. This is a letter that's signed by most all of the mayors of the cities within Rockwall County asking Governor Abbott to delay the notices going out and setting the values at what they were last year. I want to tell you that the governor did not do that. He did not accept that and use his emergency powers to set those values at last year's values. I think a lot of it was a reason is that we didn't have support from our county leaders, and we didn't have support from our state representative and our state senator in trying to get the governor to have those values set at last year.
So that is Mayor Pruitt basically going head on with County Judge David Sweet, the county commissioners, and of course, State Representative Holland and State Senator Bob Hall, all of whom are Republican. So when I say that a Republican is not a conservative make, that's what I mean. And so just a few days ago, State Representative Justin Holland took big exception with what Pruitt said, and here's what drives me crazy is he puts this response on his letterhead as a state representative and posts it. And posts a link or an attachment on his Facebook page. So instead of just writing out a response, he puts it in this formal document kind of outline. And here is what he says. It was on April 23rd, so it was just a few days ago. And here's your state representative responding to, and notice that it is to Jim Pruitt, but he posts it on social media. All right. So he says, in response to your recent misleading comments about the Rockwall County State Legislature's role in the appraisal district notice procedures and requests this month, I would like to address the fact and key details that you left out. And so right there, what he's saying to the mayor is that you've misled the citizens of this county. It says, he goes on to say, the law in the state of Texas, now he's talking about all taxable property is appraised at its market value January 1. The appraisal notice represents your property value as to the date. This is superfluous information that he's trying to get in the sticks. So basically he's saying nonsense at this point. He says, though, that there is no legal mechanism to shift strategy to new values in the wake of a state health disaster or provision in statute for roaming appraisal dates based on economic activity. Now, I'm just going to say that I'm not sure that that's true, because I did receive Adrian Balcom sent me the Iron Lady did some research on what the governor could do in executive orders, and there is a provision for the governor to take action that is lawful and that is that can supersede and go around the legislature in emergency type situations. Now, when I read it, because I'm not an attorney and she had neither of us are, we talked it through, we're not sure whether or not that provision allows for the governor to do this. But at the very least, the governor could call a special session. It's that important, or it would seem to me, for conservatives, it would seem to be that would be that important. He says the timing to spread the COVID couldn't have been any worse. Any impact on values as a result of the current health crisis will be considered by the appraisal district. Okay, so basically he's basically supporting the appraisal district, defending the appraisal district. He writes, I write your claim that I did not inquire, support, or advocate with the governor's office regarding a request to adopt the 2019 property values of 2020 is patently false. Okay, so let's see exactly what he did to advocate for the taxpayers of Rockwall County. Let's keep reading. I, like everyone, would have been very supportive of a 2019 value freeze if I knew that it was possible. I did, in fact, make an inquiry to the governor's office at your request on March 28th and for the benefit of our shared Rockwall County constituents. Wait a minute. Jim Pruitt put together a letter. It was signed, and he calls the mayors of all the mayors within the county and said, hey, will you sign this with me? We'll send it to the governor. Justin Holland is saying, okay, well, I did. I did that, but that's not what he did. What did he do? He said, I request an inquiry. I made an inquiry to the governor's office. Did he talk to the governor? Did he say to the governor, Governor Abbott, listen, this is important to our county. This is important to the taxpayers. You're a conservative. You should see the value in doing something like that. Did he do any of that? No, he made an inquiry and he talked to bureaucrats, because that's what politicians do. So this is, when he says that what Mayor Pruitt is doing is patently false, that's political speak. Because in fact, it's patently true, according to Justin Holland's own words, according to his own words that are in print. Now let's move to the second page of this, and it says the governor's office made it clear to legislators that he would not be granting the numerous requests that his office was receiving on a freeze. Okay, Jim Pruitt is saying that the state representative, the state senator from that serves Rockwall County, Senator Bob Hall, that the county commissioners court, that County Judge David Sweet, no one added to his voice and to the mayor's voices of Rockwall County. That's what Jim Pruitt is saying. That Governor Abbott would have been less inclined to deny this freeze had there been more like him, real conservatives, who were willing to say, listen, let's put a freeze on this thing. But that's not what Mr. Holland did. He said, and watch this, he says, you simply did not like the answer which was communicated back to you. No, I guess my question to Mr. Holland is, did you like the answer? Why didn't you come back with the answer and say publicly, just like Jim Pruitt did? Mayor Pruitt put this thing out on social media. He put it to the newspapers. It was in print with the Bluebonnet News. The hilarious banner. I don't even know if they gave it at the time of day. But the bottom line is, it wasn't that he didn't like the answer. It was that he doesn't like do-nothing politicians who want to gain some political points. This is the answer that he's saying. That answer was the appraisal districts by state law are required to mail out the 2020 notices as soon as practical and with the January 1st, 2020 values. As an attorney and former judge, you know the law. Now, here's a very important point. And I think Mr. Holland has a very good point. He knows Jim Pruitt knows the law. He is an attorney. In fact, I actually sat down with a citizen, had lunch with a citizen just a month and a half ago. And that citizen contacted me because he had been represented by Jim Pruitt against the county appraisal district for the outrageous job that they do in appraising our property values. And because as everyone knows, if you do not challenge your taxes, then you're a fool. You're an absolute fool. We just to give you a perspective, here in my neighborhood of Quail Creek, everyone's on 1 acre lots except for 2 houses that are just 2 houses down from me. The 2 homes that are there, they're on 3 acres of land. Ours are on 1 acre of land. Everyone's property value in our neighborhood, everyone's, is exactly the same as that. And the people who own the 3 acres, their property value is identical to ours with 1 acre. How is that? The problem with the appraisal district is that they're so arbitrary. If you haven't, listen, you should protest. And I realize a lot of you are saying, probably to the camera, to the screen right now, yeah, it doesn't work. You're right, it doesn't. I've gone twice, excuse me, I've gone every year to protest my taxes, not twice. I'm just thinking the last 2 years that I've gone, I get the same panel of guys. There's these old retirees who, by the way, based on state law, they get to have their tax rate frozen. So these guys don't care about you. They're political appointees by the state of Texas, and their job is to soak you for every penny that they can to help the state, city, counties, all of these things. The fact of the matter is, this is it's a joke, the appraisal district. But here we have Holland basically saying, you know the law. Yeah, and my point was, Jim Pruitt does know the law. He goes and he serves clients who need to be defended against the appraisal district. And by the way, do you know what Justin Holland does? He is not an attorney. He does not practice law. He's a realtor. His goal, he sees no benefit personally for our property values to go down. No. The more a property costs, the bigger the payoff. His percentage of that sale goes way up. What do you expect? But he's saying Jim Pruitt is trying to gain political points. What do you think Justin Holland is doing right here? He says that we both know that addressing Texas tax code and a decision of this magnitude may take a special session of the legislature. It doesn't matter. Jim Pruitt's letter was focused on the fact that we need some relief. Figure it out, Governor. Figure it out, Mr. Holland, Mr. Hall. Figure it out. But don't keep making excuses. I say I did not advocate. To say that I did not advocate or communicate your request to the governor is out of line and unappreciated. I was supportive and practical at the same time. That's what we need. We need politicians who are practical, just like Donald Trump. He's if anything, he's the most practical guy on earth, right? I mean, goodness knows, we need someone who's just going to reason with people. You know who this sounds like? I mean, as you look at this letter, do you know who this sounds like? It sounds like Chuck Schumer is writing this. It sounds like he's the one who's behind this. That's what politicians do. By the way, did you know that for every state legislator that is in office 12 or more years, they begin to get a pension? Did you know that? And do you know there is a reason why the state judges get a pay raise every legislative session? Did you know that they get a pay raise every legislative session? And do you know why? Because the pension for state representatives and state senators is equal to what state judges get, and that's just a little side note. Yeah, to be in the state house or senate, you don't get paid a lot of money. You don't get paid a lot of money, but you do get a pension if you stay in long enough. Are you starting to see what I'm hinting at? As I've said before, I'm a Republican. I'm a conservative Republican, and even though I've never been a fan of Justin Holland. Just so that there's no misunderstanding. Did not support him when he ran for the first time. I supported someone else, and everyone said, "Well, we need to support Justin Holland because he's from Rockwall." I look at those people today, and I'm sure I'm going to see some of those people at the state or county convention, and I'm going to ask them, "Are you happy with Justin Holland? Are you happy? Are you happy?" Well, let's keep looking at what he has to say. Rockwall needs your help, Mayor. Does this sound like someone's playing politics? Now is not the time to score cheap political points. Our community is hurting. Businesses are in shambles, and the economy will take some time to recover. You have the power as mayor of the city of Rockwall to make sure that your 2020 adopted tax in consideration of recently noticed values is reduced to reflect no new taxes. Your position with the Texas Municipal League as the Region 13 board president can be crucial in persuading other local cities to do the same thing, the right thing, or it can be detrimental with the TML track record. I have seen firsthand 2 sessions in Austin the way TML lobbies for cities and not for taxpayers. Now, I will just say this, he's right. The TML, as I've said before, is a fairly liberal organization. The fact that Jim Pruitt is the president of this district is surprising to me, but isn't that a good thing? That we have someone who actually is a conservative-minded leader at this liberal bastion of city politics. When I was mayor of McClendon Chisholm, I attended the TML conference, and I got my eyes were wide open because I'll just say this: they honored a bunch of politicians. Not one of them was Republican. They are very good about taking care of their own, and I will tell you that it is an organization that needs leadership, and it needs people like Jim Pruitt. He goes on, we can't afford to have taxes increased in 2020, regardless of the value. This is, if you want to know whether Justin Holland is on your side, read this next sentence. If a taxpayer disagrees with the opinion of the market value of their property, watch this, they should protest their values and provide compelling evidence. Mr. Holland, guess what? It doesn't matter how compelling your evidence is. They don't care. They don't care. This is a bureaucrat talking. This is Chuck Schumer talking to us. And by the way, this is not a letter to Jim Pruitt. This is a letter to taxpayers, to you and me. I join you in encouraging taxpayers to protest their values. Our CAD has their work cut out for them. The fact of the matter is, it's not the CAD that has their work cut out for them. It's the people that have their work cut out for them. That's who has their work cut out for them. Here's what he says. Remember, plain politics, please do not raise taxes on your city. The waterfall effect of increased taxes will hit every sector of our local economy harder than ever at a time when we cannot stand such a blow. I stand with Rockwall County taxpayer in asking you to adopt no new revenue tax rate this year. Now I'm going to show you some facts, and these are verifiable, empirically based facts that are actually not presented by me, but guess who? The mayor of Rockwall. This is Jim Pruitt's response to Justin Holland. He says, Justin, you know we have not raised city taxes in the city of Rockwall for at least the last 6 years. So you're asking us to adopt the no new tax rate is nothing new to us. That is exactly what we have done. I don't know how many calls your office has received about tax appraisals this week, but we have had many. I understand the law and the Constitution of this state, and you know as well as I do, the governor has suspended many Constitution freedoms we have because of the crisis. Enacting one more to stop these ridiculous property appraisals seems a small one in the scheme of things. I couldn't agree more. Why wouldn't we want to do that? This is the difference between a conservative like Jim Pruitt and a politician like Justin Holland. Again, as I said, I'm going to be voting for Justin Holland because he's a Republican. The last thing we'd ever want to do is put a Democrat in office. I mean, as bad as, and how many times have I said this before, as bad, the worst Republican is far better than any Democrat. Any day of the week. And so there is nothing that is more important to me at this point than getting Republicans elected in this next election, especially our president, Donald Trump. And I'm really sad that Congressman Ratcliffe is accepting the president's position, and he's not going to be our congressman much longer. I wish more than anything President Trump hadn't asked him. He is honestly one of the, without it, it's an empirical fact that Ratcliffe has, by his voting record, by his actions, he scores at the very highest of highs of conservatism in the United States Congress. My question is, who is going to be appointed to fill his shoes? I sure as heck hope it's not Justin Holland. Bottom line, the last thing we need is a politician as our congressman. We need statesmen. Jim, if you're watching, just saying. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Maybe you ought to take a look at it. Now, coming up, I'm going to be doing another show, more shows this week and next week. I'm going to be focusing on the fact that we have in McClendon Chisholm, as this COVID crisis is hitting the nation, as people are cutting back. Well, the city of McClendon Chisholm are spending. They still have $200,000 that they're considering giving to a developer. But better than that, they've just decided that in spite of the fact that they're going to be losing a massive amount of grant money, and we're talking a massive amount of grant money to sustain the fire department, they've hired 2 additional firefighters. Instead of cutting back, instead of being fiscal conservatives, the city council and mayor and city council of McClendon Chisholm is actually spending more money, is actually growing government. So I'll be talking about that. Be talking about the fact that you have to now subscribe to the Rockwall Hilarious banner, and I'm just curious, who the heck is going to do that? I'm going to do a show on the stupidity of anyone actually spending money on a dying on a newspaper, by the way, and I'm going to highlight this, that this newspaper doesn't even do their own stories, that they buy stories from other sources. They're not even doing the reporting themselves, but that's neither here nor there. Well, I do hope that you'll be back with me next time, and be sure to be careful while you're out. Keep yourself safe. Until next time, I am Bunker Bob, and I look forward to being with you. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.